If I lost everything tomorrow and had to rebuild from absolute zero, no savings, no connections, no head start of any kind, here is exactly what I would do to reach $1 million. Not the version people tell you, the actual version, the one that requires honesty about how wealth actually gets built in the real world today. Because here is the truth that most financial content refuses to say out loud. You cannot invest your way to wealth if you have nothing to invest. The conversation about index funds and compound interest, all of that is real and important, but it assumes you already have money flowing in excess of your expenses. Most people do not. And nobody is talking honestly about how to get there first. So let us start from the actual beginning. Phase 1. The first thing I would do is absolutely nothing for 7 days, except observe. I would sit down and honestly answer 3 questions that most people never ask themselves with any real precision. What do I know how to do that other people struggle with and would pay someone to solve? Not what I am passionate about. What I can actually do that creates value for another human being. These are sometimes the same thing. Often they are not. And confusing them is one of the most expensive mistakes people make when trying to build income. What is the fastest distance between my current skills and someone else's money? Not the most impressive path, not the most exciting path, the fastest one. And third, what would I be willing to do consistently for 2 years, even if the results were invisible for the first 6 months? Because that is the actual filter, not passion. Consistency under zero external validation. Most people skip this phase entirely. They jump straight to tactics without strategy. And then they wonder why nothing sticks. Phase 2. I would learn one high-income skill and only one for the first 90 days. Not 10 things, not a course on everything. One skill with a clear market. Practiced until I was genuinely good at it. Not influencer level, not world class. Just good enough that someone with a real problem would choose me over doing it themselves. The highest value skills in 2026 that require zero startup capital are copywriting, video editing, paid advertising management, sales, and software automation. Each of these can be learned to a functional level in 60 to 90 days with focused practice. Each of them has thousands of businesses actively looking to pay for them right now, not someday. Now, I would pick one, learn it obsessively, and before I finished learning it, I would start offering it for free to get real results I could show people. Not to stay free forever, to get proof, because proof is what converts into paying clients. Phase 3, I would turn that skill into my first $1,000 per month before I did anything else. This is the phase most people abandon too early. They make a few $100s, feel underwhelmed, and pivot to the next thing. That pivot kills everything. $1,000 per month from a skill you control and own is one of the most important financial milestones that exists, and almost nobody talks about it. Here is why it changes everything. It proves the skill works. It proves you can sell. It proves you can deliver. And it creates the psychological shift from person who needs money to person who can generate money. That shift in identity is worth more than any tactic. Getting to $1,000 per month with a real skill typically requires between 3 and 8 clients, depending on what you charge. 3 to 8 people on the entire planet who have a problem you can solve. That is the entire requirement. 3 to 8 human beings. Phase 4. I would use that income to learn the second most important skill I believe exists for building wealth in 2026, and almost nobody teaches honestly. The skill of buying things for less than they are worth and selling them for what they are actually worth. This is called arbitrage, and it has made more regular people wealthy than almost any other mechanism outside of traditional employment. Not because it is glamorous, because it is everywhere, and most people walk past it every single day without seeing it. Physical products bought at estate sales, thrift stores, liquidation auctions, and sold online for 3 to 5 times the purchase price. Local services purchased wholesale and resold retail with a margin. Digital assets, websites, social accounts, content libraries, bought from people who do not understand their value and sold to people who do. The reason this works is simple and permanent. Information asymmetry. The person selling does not know what the person buying knows. That gap is where the profit lives, and it always has. I would start with $50 at a thrift store or estate sale and see what I could turn it into online within 30 days, not to get rich from that $50. To learn to see value where other people see junk. That skill, once trained, cannot be untrained, and it scales without limit. Phase 5. I would start building one audience asset, not to go viral, not to become famous, to own attention that I could convert to income without paying someone else for access to customers. Every business that relies on paid advertising to find customers is renting access to an audience. Every business that owns an audience has something fundamentally different and far more valuable. A YouTube channel, an email list, a social media following. These are audience assets. They appreciate over time. They cannot be taken away by an algorithm change the way paid ad results can. And they compound. A 10,000-person email list built over 2 years generates more long-term value than a $100,000 advertising budget spent in the same period. I would pick one platform, only one, and I would document exactly what I was learning and doing in real time, not pretend expertise, real transparency about the actual process. Because the most magnetic content in the information age is not polished perfection. It is honest specificity, showing exactly what you tried, what worked, what failed, and what you learned. Phase 6. I would combine all of these streams and use them to acquire one cash-flowing asset. This is the phase where everything changes. This is the phase that actually builds the million. Skills generate active income. Arbitrage generates active income. An audience generates attention and income. But none of these by themselves compound automatically. You have to keep working for them to keep paying. The goal is to take the excess income generated from all three of these streams, the amount beyond what your life requires to run, and use it to buy something that generates money without your daily presence. A small business, a rental property, a website or digital asset generating passive ad revenue, a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks, physical vending machines, storage units, parking spaces. Cash-flowing assets exist at every price point from a few $100s to millions. The first cash-flowing asset I could afford would not be impressive. It might generate $50 a month, but that $50 is money that arrives without me working for it. And the psychological effect of that, of seeing income appear in your account from something you own rather than something you do, is one of the most motivating experiences in personal finance. From there, the math gets simple. More skills mean more income. More income means faster asset acquisition. More assets mean more passive income. More passive income means less time required to survive. Less time required to survive means more time available to build. And around that loop goes, compounding not just money, but freedom. The $1 million is not a mystery. It is the natural output of this process applied with patience and consistency over enough time. The people who reach it are not smarter than you. They are not luckier. They simply understood earlier that wealth is built in layers. Active income funds asset acquisition, which funds passive income, which funds more asset acquisition. And they started building those layers without waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Start anyway. Drop a comment below and tell me which phase you are in right now, whether you are at 0 or already building. I want to know where you are and what your next move is. Next week, we are breaking down exactly how to find your high income skill, the specific process for identifying what you're actually worth in the market right now. Subscribe so you do not miss it. See you then.